Hi, everyone. Carmo Sullivan here. Another podcast. I am so excited today.
Woohoo!
Woo! I have Denny Bear, and he goes by Brudda Zen. And I feel really privileged to have him here today because your energy is amazing. He has great energy. So when you want to know about energy, I feel people's energy and great energy. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about him, and then we're going to talk. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome.
So I am, my official birth name is Denny Beyer, but I go by Brudda Zen. I consider myself a wake-up artist. My passion is, reminding us of our connection that we have with the Creator and with Spirit and who we truly are. We're so much more than these characters, these human characters. We're these actors, these powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit beings made of unconditional love. And so that's my passion. I mainly do it through my YouTube channel, which is Brudda Zen Mystic Tarot, where I go live to do live readings virtually every night. It's Wednesday through Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and then also in the mornings on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Also, I put out like weekly pick a card readings.
I love that.
And monthly readings for each individual zodiac sign. So that's a big piece of it. But I have a website, bruddazen.com, where I also offer personal readings and dabble a little bit. One big toe probably in astrology. And then also I have a unique way of approaching some energy work too. So that's the main thing that I do, and I'm a big proponent of walking in love, like
absolutely.
moi.
Love is the key word in all situations in my mind. So when you're confused, err on the side of love, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, usually if we're confused, it means we're in the
Struggle of
lower
love.
vibration love, which is fear.
Fear is one of those things that kind of keeps us in that
Fight or flight. Out of our minds, literally.
Crazy,
Yeah.
I love how you call yourself a wake-up artist. To me, that is amazing. I love that, just that wake up. Tell me how you got that. And tell me how I know you're a big empath. Tell me how you got up first to the wake-up artist, and then let's go into your empathic, what it is.
Sure. Well, it's kind of like melted together because Wake Up Artist came later, of course, when...
Well, let's start from the beginning. Tell me how you...
So when I was born... It's going to be a while. How long is this podcast?
Oh, my God. Short version, abridged.
Yeah, it's amazing because, you realize later, like when I talked to my mom later, when I kind of had a coming out of that I'm, empathic and I talk to spirit and I channel and talk to people on the other side. It was by her.
I love that.
She, very, very Christian. And when I was in Christianity and organized religion, they would call me prophet and call me the names that religion called
likes
these
to
gifts.
name you, label you. Yeah.
Everyone has different, names for it. But when I was talking to my mom about it, she was like, that makes so much sense. Like when you were like 2 years old, you would like wander over to the person that was having the most worst time in their life among people, and you would just get on their lap and it would just change them because here's this little boy, giving you attention.
Yeah.
And she was like,
no, it was more than that.
wow. And then I realized too, like when I was in kindergarten, first grade, how I felt like two boys were picking on a little girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are they picking on her when they know how they're making her feel? So I went over and said, why are you guys doing that? And of course, then the attention came to me. And you learn, don't always talk about what you're feeling.
Yeah, feelings were rough back then. They
Yeah.
were not allowed, really.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what you feel like. Just do the thing. Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just, you don't realize you're doing it. You don't realize you're feeling everyone's emotions, and you're empathic and you just think it's normal that you're feeling everyone's emotions in the room and you're wondering, why are they lying when, you can sense that they're not telling the truth.
Did it isolate you somewhat as a kid? Or were you isolated? Or were you accepted? How did that work for you?
It was interesting. I realized I chose my life with my parents and my family. We moved a lot and they were a lot busy. So I grew up kind of alone, even though in a family. But I know I look back at it now going, I chose that because I wanted to have this awareness, you know.
Oh, I love that because I think people who like to be alone like themselves. Does that make sense? I don't know. I love being alone, but I don't want to be alone all the time. But I found that I was very happy in my room, closed in, doing something by myself.
And also being empathic and you're feeling people's emotions. It's like,
Hide.
I need some away time from everyone so that I can
Space.
recover and, plug in your battery.
So when did you have your great awakening? I mean, truly, where you stepped into your gifts.
Wow. I would say truly, wow, there's like two big, huge things. When I was 22, when I almost killed myself. Whoa.
Oh, I know. It makes me sad. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It
Yeah.
was great.
Everybody has a moment. Everybody.
It was perfect. I mean, it needed to happen.
It had to happen.
And then when I was 29, so 22, I almost ended my life because I was experiencing that I'm gay. I know. Cut the podcast. No. But with where I was at in Christianity and stuff, that was an abomination.
Totally. Yeah. What year was that? Just out of curiosity. I'm not trying to age you by any means.
Right. Let's see. Probably mid 80s.
Mid 80s.
Mid 80s.
And that was really fearful then
maybe
too
a
of
little later.
being gay.
Yeah, that wasn't the in thing back then.
Oh, horrible! It was horrible.
But so, and I thought abomination, I thought that was something cool because it was abominable snowman. And they're like, no, abomination.
Oh my God, it's like taking the word and making it unfriendly.
Yeah.
Think about that.
But you can also make it funny, because it's like,
abominable snowman.
I'm like an abominable snowman. It's really cool. But it was, I was, one of my best friends had made the moves on me and I loved him and he loved me. And, but it was like, I went into super fight or flight mode. I'm like, oh my God, God hates me. My family's going to hate me. Everyone's going to hate me. And I said, I just got to make this look like an accident. I've got to end my life. And that way my mom can get, double insurance. And I was like thinking
You were
about
really
everything.
thinking-
Yeah. Capricorn, rising energy. It was like,
Wow.
I don't want to like blow my brains out because I don't want my mom to find me that way. So, and this that would freak someone out. I go, oh, I had a little Suzuki Samurai. They were known for flipping. I was like, I can wreck that because then no one would. They're like, yeah, that thing.
Yeah, that fixed it. Yeah.
But then, of course, then I thought, well, what if it doesn't work the first time and then I'm paralyzed from what am I going to do? Try to,
And then you're stuck.
That's the big thing is in that moment when I'm bawling and crying on my bedroom floor, I just felt this electricity and energy just dropped into the room and I couldn't move. I just, it's wow, I feel it right now.
I love that.
And it was just like this whisper of no.
He came to whoever he, she, it, I don't
Just
care.
spirit just
Showed up.
It's like the whole posse just went in and said,
Okay, we got to help him. He's right now in a crisis.
they're like, no. You
got more
know.
work to do
Yeah,
here.
we got plenty to do. Yeah, that was like, what, 24, 25 years ago.
It's
so
funny
half my
because I've
life.
interviewed other people who were trying to kill themselves but not knowingly. And that voice came in too. The same kind of voice that came in and just the whole room changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
And it's amazing. You're just like, of course, then I was in the judgment and he hates me. So I had to beg him for forgiveness every day and do all this kind of stuff. And I was actually trying to be straight and was dating a girl and, several hours away, very convenient. And being a good Christian boy, we don't kiss. We don't do any of that stuff.
No.
And she invited me down to visit. And her mom said, yeah, you can stay with us, which was, they were like, she never liked any of her boyfriends or anything, of course,
They loved you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm safe, right?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
probably sensed it.
But they probably loved you for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine so. They were very, very, they were Pentecostal Christians too. And,
Wow.
the
Spoke in tongues?
Yeah, and all that.
My
Which
father
I grew
did
up in.
that.
I grew up in non-denominational, so I was
Wow.
already introduced to kind of spirit and everything too.
So spirit
with all
is,
that.
it's been around you forever.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's normal, the movement of spirit and people falling under spirit and stuff.
Yeah.
And the Sunday before I was going down, I got really into worship, just love. It was all about, I loved the love kind of worship songs to the Creator and all that. And I just felt like they were listening to me. And I was like, forgive me and show me your will for my life and, some other stuff. And I went down the next morning to spend like 5 days down in Corpus Christi with them. And they were like, Wednesday night, it's Bible study night, or they had church in the middle. And they go, do you want to go? And Pentecostal, I'm like, oh, I know all about that. Yeah, no problem. Let's go. And we went, and like her entire family filled up like the last pew of the church. That was like her mom and dad and brother and sister and brother and their girlfriend and and then the two of us were in the very end.
Wow.
And it was a great. It was. They were talking about the Bible verses around love, and it was a wonderful sermon about love, which I'd heard a lot before. But when they were closing, the pastor actually started. It was wonderful worship to end the church service, and Spirit fell on him, and he started shaking, and he was like speaking in tongues. And when they do that, of course, it's very reverent. It's like the Holy Spirit is here to speak, so everyone closes their eyes, and you're just like this. And then he stops, and it's silent. And then he goes, what's the name of that young man in the corner? And I'm like, I wonder who he's... Oh, crap.
Shit,
it's me. Excuse me. I know, yeah. That's what I said. Oh, shit. And I thought, uh-oh. And he goes, and her mom goes, I went by Dennis back then. It's Dennis. And I'm like... Uh-oh, well, here it is. If this is what needs to happen,
you're going
to out me in front of this entire congregation of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
No one I've never met before. And I'm just like, here we go. And he was like, God has a word for you. He goes, my son, I have forgiven you. I will show you my will for your life. Everything I have prayed in order with them. I know, right?
You're going to make me cry. And I can't make a phone and I can't cry. Oh, my gosh.
And I was just like, I lifted my hands up and I just felt, that's the first time I felt a huge, huge surge of that beautiful love energy. And I just felt like I was walking on
air.
Yeah. And I was just like, and of course the family I'm with is like, what the hell
did
just
that
happened?
mean?
Yeah. They're like, we bring you out of nowhere. No one knows you and you get this message through this pastor you've never known in your life. So that alone, no one can ever tell me that the Creator doesn't exist.
Oh, he exists and he shows in many ways if you're open. And I just love that. That makes me like, people pray for that kind of moments in their life.
I was going to say, some people are, like, I envy you. And I'm like, you probably don't need to hear it as loud as I do. They're like, hey, you're not listening. Here, get a hold of this one, and we're going to do that through this big surround sound. I'm like, oh, I hear you now.
Now in front of a cold group, and you're going to hear it all.
Yeah.
I feel like that is an amazing moment. I could see it almost in a movie, It
is. So that's a huge life-changing piece. I still stayed within Christianity for probably 7 years and then I was like, of course, beating myself up because, of course, the gay feelings are always there. I was just like, don't act on them, and forgive me, even the thought coming in and attraction or any of that. But I spent a lot of time alone getting to know the Creator, and so it was a wonderful time.
You were the hermit.
I was.
Yeah.
Very much. I still am.
I get that way sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
calm time.
But it was beautiful because, just this alone time that I spent just developed this closer and closer connection. And I got to the point where, you get to a point in your life where when you're suppressing who you are, you have this ugly feeling of not being yourself. And then as long as fear outweighs it, you don't act and you don't, come out in all sorts of ways.
Right.
But eventually the ugly feeling of not being yourself outweighs your fears, and then you step forward. And that's what happened when I was 29. I just couldn't take it anymore of suppressing and lying. And my mom even felt a barrier between us because
you were hiding.
Yeah, because I wanted to love, but I wasn't attracted to women. I'm just like, I couldn't help it.
Didn't your mom kind of know, though?
No, she didn't have a clue.
She didn't?
Maybe she didn't want to see it. My dad, who didn't live with us, he was like, I knew you were gay. And I was like, How did you know? You weren't even around a whole lot. But,
I think sometimes moms have that dream and they don't want to see anything more than the dream.
and fear. They don't want their children to get rejected
Hurt.
and be in danger
Yeah,
and
I
all
get that. And that was a scary time in the 80s. I
Yeah.
mean, we had a lot of friends die from AIDS in the 80s. And I had a lot of good friends. I grew up in LA. And, I mean, men weren't afraid to be gay then, or at least I knew they were.
In
so,
the big cities,
Yeah, the big cities. Where did you grow up?
Off and on, a lot in Colorado Springs, but this was when I was in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay. Oh,
So-
Texas and Colorado. It's an interesting combo.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
So since you've moved forward, I mean, here you are. What made you step into being the spiritual kind of Zen? I want to call you the Zen master. I think
Okay.
that's a good thing.
Sure.
Zen. I love Zen because Zen's about happy and love.
Peaceful. Yeah.
What made you step into this world?
Yeah, well, 29 is like when it all happened, because that's when I came out and I told the creator, I go, I've been begging you for 16 years to remove these feelings. You haven't. So I'm just going to live the life of a gay man, whatever that is for me.
Okay.
And if you don't like it, change me. And then I just felt this parting where the creator was over here and all of humans were over here. And he was like, I don't care. I want you to enjoy your life. And I'm like a parent. I love you. I want you to have fun.
Yeah.
I want you to enjoy this. It's a playground. Go play and enjoy. I don't have these judgments. They're like my children, and they misinterpret and misunderstand some things and
Hello.
in fear. And this is what we do.
Judgment, the big word J. I
Yeah.
hate that, the judgment word, because we're just appointing people to be something you think it should be. God
It's
didn't
our
appoint us to
contrast.
be
Yeah.
our,
God's a
only
little sheriff.
ourselves.
God's little sheriffs
Oh, God.
going around telling them,
Yeah.
hey, this is who you're supposed to be. And they're like, what rule is that? It's in here somewhere. I know it is in the rule book. Well, wait, why are these pages blank?
I love that you had the bravery and this, that inner spirit pulling you towards your real truth into who you were. I mean, I think everybody has those life crises. Maybe not gay. Maybe they're, finding out more about themselves they don't like. Or maybe they're finding out the truths of the things they picked were not serving them well.
Yeah. We all have a coming out at some time in our life of, I don't want to be a doctor like the rest of my family, or I don't want to be, live this or have that kind of job, or, have these riches, or it's the challenge. It's, but when we, like I said, that ugly feeling of not living our dream eventually outweighs the fears, and then that is when we take it.
I think it's finally stepping for the love of yourself. And I always say in my mind is that if we love ourselves well, everything else will be okay. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and err on the side of light and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's self-love is what it's all about, because one of the things that comes through so much when I do readings is we're taught as humans to look outside of ourselves for our self-worth and our self-love, but that's retail price. That's what we're worth to
Oh, I
others.
love that.
That's not self-worth. Comes from
Yes,
self,
Yes.
not the outside world. And we're taught define yourself by relationships, situations, and things, but relationships, people change, they pass away, they walk away. It's unstable. They never, they are not stable. Situations like jobs, education, everything else never stay the same, and
No.
things break down, blow up, burn down, stolen. So it's all unstable. And when we define ourselves by that, then
By
we
a
feel
title
unstable.
or by,
Then we're unstable. We feel unstable until we get bored enough of it where we turn inward and upward. And then that's where that self-love is.
Oh, I like that. I could write that down. Inward and up. Because I think our happiest moments in life is when we turn inward and upward.
That's what
And
we're
see the bigger
hungry
picture and
for.
the beauty of life without having to have a title, without having anything but a simple day of like seeing the butterfly on the tree that flies onto your hand. and the awe.
changes your whole world, because it's like our heart is hungry for a 10-course meal with 2 desserts,
Yeah.
because you have to have dessert. So
I agree.
so your soul's here, and all that the outside world can give us is
Yeah.
3rd dessert, 4th dessert, 5th dessert, 6th dessert, but we're looking for our 10-course meal, out there.
Yeah.
And sure, you can have a 10-course meal of desserts, but how long before you're like, I need nutrition. My heart needs nutrition.
Yeah.
And then you turn inward and upward, and you're like, there's the 10-course meal.
Yeah.
And then you're full, and then it's not like you're like, I don't want anything from the outside world. You're like, you can always make room for more dessert. So third dessert, fourth dessert, come on, you can bring it. But instead of it falling short, where like when you're looking at for your meal, it's always a lack and falling short. You're full and it's overflowing. It's abundance. And so when people give you all those desserts, if someone goes, no, I'm not giving you seventh dessert, you're like, good, thank God I was
full.
like full. It's not like a desperation anymore. It's just okay.
I try to do every day. I try to find, I call it the awe in the day's work or the day's, whatever's going on in my life. And I start out by just stepping outside and looking. And it's just the simple things like look at the peak. I get to walk out and see the peak. The Pikes Peak to me is one of my favorite things to see because I feel inspiration from it. Climbed it a few times too. And I'm always telling people it's not the things like happiness doesn't just be served to you. You have to look for it. And it's about joy because joy is an inside job coming out and happiness is an outside job coming in, like the desserts. And once you find the way to live in the joy, and even though you may not be presented joy one day, you still have the hope it's coming. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, you have this full feeling. It's like I said, it's not a desperation anymore where we're like, I need that. It's like, I want it, but I don't need it.
It's funny because I feel like when I had to turn to a point in my life that I had to look, I've always was inspired by the outside, and I inspired by beauty. My dad always taught me, Carmi, you got to look at things outside. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? He'd stop the car and just show it to us. And I'm like, oh yeah. So I really found appreciation in the smaller things of life. But as I grew older, I lost that through, that childhood awe. And I found it again when, like you said, inward and upward, when I connected to my spirit and my soul and my life's passion. And this is my life's passion, to spread love and light.
Absolutely.
How did you walk into starting your own practice and being a reader? And I think that's important too.
Yeah. So at 29, I know we keep on going up.
I love 29.
At 29 was the big, decide I'm going to live my life, and I had my first relationship, and then the first relationship ended, which is always great. It's wonderful. That heartbreak. Let's get in there.
Without heartbreak, you don't know love.
Right? Exactly.
It's true.
Exactly.
Without light, there's no dark, and no dark, no light.
So it was about, it would have been like 31, 32. After that was ending, and I was in this momentary pocket in between relationships. I met one of my coaches at work that reported to me. She was like, hey, we started talking about spirituality, and she was into metaphysics and different things and just really opened up a little more to it. And she invited me over to, they called Girls' Night, which was her and her two daughters and their next door neighbor, and they'd pull cards and do everything. And I went, and I was just like, I'd always been drawn to tarot cards.
So you work with tarot, not oracle, is that right?
Well, I started off with oracle.
And then you moved into tarot. We all do that, I think.
Yeah. Which, because I refused to read the little books.
Yes!
I didn't want to read any books about anything. I just wanted to learn from spirit.
You wanted to intuit.
Yeah, I didn't want anyone telling me what to do.
Yeah. I understand that very, very well. I'm one of those people too.
And it's funny, now that I'm reading books and doing things, I'm like, oh, here's what spirit taught you through all the time. And you're just like, oh, well, yeah.
Okay, I get
that's
that.
Great, validation. And so we're all of one beautiful mind. But so I went there, and they were doing readings, and it was like a huge table like this, and I was like on one end of it, and they were doing cards over there, and there was like 4 people on each side. It was like, I think it was even Thanksgiving they were doing it. And I'm just sitting there, and they're like, someone asked a question, and I just like, blah, 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 without seeing the cards,
Did you feel like you were just vomiting almost?
It was just like, it just couldn't.
Comes out.
I'm like, oops, sorry. And they're like, nope, that's what the card said. That's what's coming through. So like, all right, next question. What about you? And they're, da da da. I'm like, well, da 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 da. they started getting like, here. They came down and handed me the cards and said, you read. And I'm like, I've never done it before. And they're like, you're empathic. You pick up people's emotions, pick up the emotions on the card. And then I did, and it was like, wow.
It was it like that awe moment, because it's like that awakening, kind of a mini awakening, like, oh, okay, I get
beautiful.
this. Those little awe moments, the little ones, the little awakening moments that you remember, they tell you.
Yeah. And one of the ones that was doing the readings, they were like, they had a smoke break, and so we all went out to talk, and then they were like, when you're ready, we can help you open up even more. And I'm like, I'm ready, let's do it. And they're like, all right, let's go. So it was her and one other person took me into a side room, and they, took hands, and they're like, okay, so now I just want you to breathe and just imagine this hole of where the energy's coming through. Just imagine it open up, and I just felt whoosh. It was like 1,000 times more than when I had that experience when Spirit came through. Yeah. Oh. And they were like, yikes. They're like, they felt it.
Did they feel like they're blown away?
Yeah. And the one was like, you need to do it with her because you're blowing my circuits. You need to do that. And she goes, imagine a much smaller hole. It was just this wonderful energy. And that was the beginning. And I just, doing that. And I bought my first tarot cards. And it's just, when you step out of all the boundaries, it's just like whoosh.
It's funny how Spirit presents itself, himself, herself. For me, it's like I get that. I feel that. I don't feel that whoosh, but I feel like, For me, it's kind of a quieter knowing, but I've always known things all my whole life. So I get you. And that, just the book alone, I don't want to read that book. I just want to know, I want to look at the cards.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want, what are you telling me? What is coming through?
Well, it's funny because I think too is like when you just know, and you can't help it, and you don't know where it's coming from. I'm a person. First off, I squirrel, so I just say what I feel what I say, and kindly. When I was younger, maybe not as kind. I've learned how to be
more
kinder.
Kind as
more
we go
kind
on,
as we get older. But I was funny because as a youngster, I was the family member who was hard-hearted Hannah. Because I would say what I thought all the time, and I would be truthful to the point of being hurtful. And now I was just being prepped how to be. You got to see that side so you can be this side. Do you know what I mean? So your business, you've done a lot in your business. You've been doing it for now 16, 17 years?
I've been doing readings for mainly friends in the beginning for about 25 years.
Okay.
Card readings because I'm old. I know.
I am too. I'm older than him. He has to respect his elders.
That's right. I respect. And then it was probably about 5 or 6, 7 years ago. I left corporate life to try starting up spiritual business.
What did you do in corporate life?
I worked at a major auto insurance company for over.
I bet I know who that is.
24,
actually.
25.
Yeah.
It's probably just down the road here.
Right here, yeah. Actually, my brother
drove
worked
there
for
every day. Yeah.
My brother worked there too. Yeah.
Oh.
He worked there for 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
we'll have to talk
about
this.
that later.
Yeah, no. We'll talk about that afterwards, see who that is.
Yeah.
So, it really, unfolded. It didn't jump and leap off into
this
success.
This was a side job for you at first.
Yeah. And then, but I left corporate life. I was like in IT management, and I didn't want to be management anymore. So I left for 7, 8, 9 months and traveled and invested in, getting my website up and going and doing some groundwork, but then the money started running out. And so I went back to work. Actually went back to that company.
Yeah.
They're really great about letting you come back. And I learned a lot about myself during that time. And then it was COVID hit, 3 years ago now? And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm like,
it was like that one moment.
Death was upon our door, and
I gotta live my life.
It was like, what am I waiting for to live my dream, to die?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that was the nudge of Spirit, just going, God, what do we have to do? If I had to review one more insurance policy, I was gonna poke my eye out. It was like, but that's what happens. It's like the eagle's nest. You know how an eagle has it builds a nest of craggly things, but it coats the inside with
Feathers,
furs
yeah.
and, feathers.
Furs
and,
of animals.
Yeah, furs of animals
Babies.
and shrubberies and cloth and things to make it comfy for the egg and the eaglets. But when it's time for the eaglets to learn to fly, the eaglets are like, "Wait, got room service. It's comfortable. Why would I want to leave?" And the eagle parents are like, "You're right," and they start ripping out the comfortable stuff to
I
make it
didn't know
so
that.
uncomfortable for them that they want to leap up on the sides because it's all craggly.
Right.
And then they're like, "Well, crap, I'm just going to fly."
That is a beautiful story, and that's a truth. That's what they do. That's part of nature, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
And that's
I love
what
that.
spirit does for us, to
Yeah.
make it so uncomfortable in alignment with our soul. I mean,
Right. They know what
they're
you're
not
supposed to be
punishing us or
doing.
anything, but
Yeah.
they're like, "You wanted us to do this. You said before you came down here, if I get to this point and I'm not doing it on my own,
Kick me.
start removing things to make it so uncomfortable for me to stay where I'm at that, again, the ugly feeling outweighs it where we're ready to leap
Right.
and fly."
Wow. That's kind of an epiphany. I'm thinking about that. Because I think everybody has that uncomfortable moment in their life to move forward into something greater than what they think they're supposed to be doing. Putting your feet in the fire. Yeah.
Yeah, the snake outgrowing its skin. Like, it's too tight. I can't do it anymore. I need to shed this.
Yeah.
There's so many
There's so many
wonderful
analogies,
yeah,
beautiful nature ways of teaching you. Wow.
beautiful.
So tell me what you're doing today.
Today I'm meeting with you. No, I'm in the now. I'm in the moment.
It's going to give me a reading later.
I know. Yeah, I'm excited to give
excited.
you.
God, we just do that together?
We did.
Jinx. And jinx. No.
It's, yeah, I mean, a lot of what I talked about in the beginning, I'm main thing is doing live readings, offering them on YouTube. And I feel like next what's coming is I'm going to be doing some teaching, more
Very
kind of
much
teaching
so.
series. And I'm learning so much. I've been doing lives for probably about 9 months consistently so much that it just grows it's like a muscle. The more you use it.
The more you
just-
use it, the more you it's easier. It's easier. It gets easier.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I feel like lives to me, I mean, I do shows live, so it's not like being on camera like today. But the problem is when I do like I'm a little bit hesitant to do lives on like YouTube or just on, well, not YouTube, like TikTok. I have, to me, it's like, wow, that's pressure. And, but your YouTube, you're not in front of a group, or do you go live and they are watching you on YouTube? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, so I go YouTube live and then people join the chat.
Oh, I
and
had
they-
no idea that YouTube had that. So tell me, so you just start reading people from that point on?
Yeah, actually now I do an announcement now or before I go on and people start putting their questions in beforehand because they can always come back on the replay and watch it. So I start in and people are live and
Oh my God, this guy has balls. Excuse my expression. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be crude, but I am.
it's what you do. You just
I love what you're doing. I feel
just-
like I'm like, wow.
well doing it live in front of an audience too. I mean, me
To
it's just
me-
a camera and I feel like I'm a spirit and I can sense everyone on the other.
So you feel the other side.
Yeah, I feel
That's
people's
very-
energies, but a live audience, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's my stretching point.
To
Maybe
me,
this one's
I
yours.
love being in front of an audience.
Yeah.
But it is scary because first off, makes me kind of. I want to do actually. I haven't told a lot of people this, but I would like to do a live show where you have comedy of some of the readings which have pathos, because I want you to laugh and cry, because death is not scary in the bigger picture. It's not death anyway. But I have funny stories from just different things that have happened to me in my work. But that to me is scary because I'm stepping out of like, I can read, but I don't know if I can make people laugh and read.
Well, let spirit do it. I find that my readings are so funny and fun because
Yes.
spirit, I feel like when they come to the veil so close to us, it's almost like they're drunk or high because they're from this place of unconditional love, and when they come so close to conditional love and the opposites, it's like they feel the joy and everything so much more. They're just so giddy and so
So you kind of get a little bit of a humanness about them.
sassiness and funny, and they just come through, and the stories that they do. I know, like with you, they touch all these memories of different things. Like a friend of mine, when I was just sitting around with her, I was like, I feel like there's someone here, and I can see them in my third eye. I go, they look like a young high school, like maybe senior age. So they're wearing all black, but they're not goth, they're not athletic, they're not this, they're not that. And she's like, well, I think I knew who that is. It could be a few people. And all I heard was Tarzan, Lord of Greystoke.
Oh my God.
I'm like, they're like, they kept on pushing it too. It's like, because I had watched the movie, they're like, Tarzan, Lord of Greystoke, Tarzan, Lord of Greystoke.
Like, ding,
Tarzan.
ding, ding, ding,
I'm
ding.
like, does it mean anything to you? And like, it's not making any sense. And I'm like, we looked up the actors, any of these names? And they're like, no, but I know who it is. And I don't remember their name, but I'm going to text someone and I'll let you know tomorrow. And I got a text in the morning saying their name was Sam Lord. Lord of Greystoke.
Oh, isn't that how interesting how they use our memories to bring forth the information? It's crazy because
Movies and all sorts of stuff, and I'm like, does this make any sense to you? And they're like I see Star Trek, I see the Enterprise doing this. I'm like, yeah, they were a Star Trek fan. It's like,
and
oh,
you know
okay.
what's funny is this is harder as I grow older because I'll see like an actor from above me who was older than me. Like I had a group reading and I was talking about Ernest Borgnine who has a split tooth. And I'm seeing this guy and I go, Ernest Borgnine. Do anybody know? No one knew who Ernest Borgnine was. And I'm like, I'm dating myself. I'm aging. But it was funny because when they found out later, she reached out and said, oh, it's my Uncle Ernie. And he did have a split in his tooth.
Wow.
Because I kept seeing the split. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's funny because now I know I have to be careful when I do my TV and my movies of what age I'm talking to.
Well, Spirit's gonna know though too. I'm like they said, they can go find out or whatever. But it's like Spirit, they know. It's like trusting they know, right?
They do, and it's funny because I was like, it's kind of like I feel like I leave my clients sometimes with a little mystery, and then they come back to me. It's like, okay, it's your turn to find out what it really means.
You got homework.
Yeah, and they always text me later and say, oh my God, Carm, can you believe this is what I figured? And
I love it.
I do too. That's what I love about the work because it is a mystery, and there's those aha moments. You're like, how did that happen? Yeah, and there's so many stories.
No limits, no boundaries.
Yeah.
You're just like, whatever you want to do.
And they make a joke out of it sometimes. Like, I know you're talking about me down there. One lady told me that. I'm like, she knows you're talking about her, and not in such a good way. And she's laughing at you now.
That's funny. It is funny.
So you do the YouTube, and you have a book series too. I saw. Now, tell me about your book series.
So it started off. It's all about coming back from fear. Is the big one. It's coming back from fear, and then because that's our big step. We live in this world of fear.
Right.
Fear rides. It's a fear amusement park. We come here on purpose.
Fear
for
rides.
A purpose.
Oh
it's
my God!
fear,
I have to use that. I'm sorry. Can I steal that?
You can. I give you permission. It is. It's like a giant amusement park of fear rides, and we come here to ride them. We don't come here to go, oh, don't go on there.
Stand there and look at it,
But we have little Zen gardens, too, that we can take a step out and just reflect and go back and forth. But, we do. We come here to experience all these fears and all these, experiences. And when we're done, then we, go to another fear ride.
Next.
We go to another one.
I feel like you're not growing unless you're stepping into the fire, is what I call it. You got to challenge yourself to do something uncomfortable that will grow your soul. It doesn't mean jumping off a building unless you have a parachute. It means doing something that you wish you could do. It's funny because when you die, it's all the wish list you had done. So do it before you go.
Yeah, when you're on your deathbed looking back, did it matter? What do you wish you'd have done more? Work more?
No.
Oh.
It was funny. I asked my dad on his deathbed, I said, what do you wish you had done or been like? And he goes, I wish I had been not afraid to talk to people, because he was very shy because he was a stutterer, and he was also spoke in tongues. it's interesting, a stutterer speaking in tongues, but he was fluid. And he was a Catholic Pentecostal. And
That's an interesting combination.
isn't that kind of
It
wild,
is.
little oxymoron almost, huh?
Mystics.
Yeah, very much. I do think Catholics are very mystical. And most, not all the good readers, most of the good readers are usually Catholic background. And I can name probably 10 right now that
The
people
connection
know.
to ritual. Is
I think it's
so-
ritual, and
yeah.
and Catholics also believe in mysticism, angels, and healings, and you have to have like how many to become a saint? It's like 3 miracles. So I believe that the Catholics have this kind of a background in it anyway. So just one
Yeah.
more step toward mysticism.
I love organized religion because it's, a lot of people's introduction to spirit.
Yes.
But it's a party that people invite you to meet someone. And then if you're only interacting with at the party, you're going to have a shallow relationship. But it's about being introduced to Creator and then, hey, let's go out for coffee. And you develop this own personal relationship.
Your own, yeah. It's really interesting too. Is I feel the people who've had religion in their life, I think sometimes they step into more spirituality easier sometimes, unless they've been, because the ones I find who weren't raised with anything, I don't know if they have a harder time. I don't know. I was thinking about that. It's kind of a pondering,
It kind of both.
because they can be stopping you from stepping into it too. If you're,
Yeah.
judgmental of religion versus spirituality, I think everybody has to have a path.
Yeah. It's like when you hire somebody in a job. Do you want someone with experience that you have to retrain and brainwash them?
Right.
Or do you want someone fresh, a clean slate?
Who's
It's
excited,
like,
a puppy. Yeah.
There's pros and cons for both, right?
Well, I do think that. And I think, for me, I think I grew up Catholic, 12 years of Catholic schools, and my parents were both devout Catholics. I love some of the ritualisms. I love the rosary. I love the Blessed Mother. I love Jesus, but Jesus is not the scary Catholic Jesus I was raised with, but he's more
Baby
the
Jesus. Baby Jesus is my favorite
Oh
Jesus.
my God, baby Jesus! I think about that in the.
Is that
There's a couple little stories on that.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
the Modern Family, and did you ever see that show?
Not that one, but there was was it it's the racing one.
Oh,
with
yeah,
Will
yeah,
Ferrell.
yeah.
His favorite Jesus
Yeah.
was the baby Jesus.
Karen, the lion. Well, I think it was on Modern Family. Is Gloria orders cheese, and she wanted baby cheeses, but she wanted baby Jesus, and she got baby cheeses. Because the accent's so thick.
That's funny. I
But
love her.
but it's funny. It's because I do love parts of my Catholicism, but I am. It's all different how I look at it now. And I do believe it's funny because when I was a 5-year-old kid, my mom would say, "Pray for the souls in purgatory, Carmi," and I'm like, "Are we praying for ourselves? Because that's us." And my mom looked at me, "Oh, you're being disgraceful right now." And it was true. I feel like this is our purgatory if you want to take the Catholic side of it,
Yeah.
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 I don't
The
know, but I
waiting
love
ground.
I love my friends who are Catholic. I think you all need something to believe and to love and to put your passion in, whether it's religion, spirituality. But I tell people you have to be connected to something greater than oneself.
Because we're so much more than the human. There's
Yeah.
so much. We're so much more.
Yeah. I feel that's where I think my spirit grew, is when I went into more of the spiritual look of life. And I've always was spiritual. I just didn't know what to call it. Do you know what I mean? But when I went into the more of the formal study of spiritualism, when I started doing this work, I felt so much happier in my soul. I don't know how to
Free.
explain it. Free. And it would be all these, yeah, I get that.
Fearing less.
Loving more. And being okay with yourself and loving yourself and forgetting, the rest and the judgment and trying
Exactly.
not to judge, which we do every day anyway, picking out a piece of food. What do I want to eat today?
What do I want? What
Does
I
that
don't
box look good? No.
want. So I was like, how did we get on that subject? It was
I don't
It was the
know.
books. The
The
books.
books,
So
sorry.
the book.
Squirrel.
I know. Squirrel. I flow. It's going with this flow of spirit.
Yeah.
That's what I call it
Thank
when
you
I go
for
off
bringing
track.
us back.
But yeah, so it's like coming back from fear is like our huge first step, because when we're in fear, we're out of our minds.
Right.
We're literally in the human body kicks out the intelligent, compassionate, loving individual, and we are just in survival mode. And we don't
Almost.
grow in survival mode, we just survive. So coming out of fear and finding a place of peace is the first step.
Right.
And then the second book, I think I called it Superpower. Is it Superpower? I think it's something like that. Because it had to do with my brother when he said, super salad. And he was like, that sounds great. They're like, no, not a super salad. It's soup or salad.
Play on words again.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. But this one is all about recognizing the power that we have, and the power of laughter, and the power of, choice is a huge one.
Yeah.
And then the third book is Who Let the Master Out.
I love that. 'Cause you know what it sounds like? Who let the dog? Yeah, sorry. I started singing that when I saw that earlier.
That's where it's from. I know. I mean, no, it's my original idea.
I love it. He coined it.
So, it's like this progression
Yeah.
of discovering this connection of up above. And that's what it's, gone to. Last year, I have a free YouTube series called U times 2, which is all about getting to know the two of us that are living this human experience. And it is it's the joining together. And I love it. It reminds me of the strength card in tarot, which for me, Spirit shows it as the lion is our human and the maiden is our higher self.
Right.
And it's not this destroy our ego and kill it. It's we
need the
complete
ego.
it. We complete it.
Yeah.
Because what our
It's a balance. Find balance.
what we're hungering for is the unconditional love up above, and our higher self just happens to be made of it, and so it brings us. We walk hand in paw together instead of feeling like we have to fight it. It's like, no, we embrace and we complete it. And it's a
Amazing.
whole new thing. It's like master numbers 11, 22, and 33. 11 is the experience of our ego and our human. And 22 is realizing I'm so much more than just that. I'm the spiritual. And then 33 is 11 plus 22. It's a new, I know, my maths is good.
Oh my God, numerology. I love numerology too. I look at numbers all the time.
Yeah, they're
They all
everywhere.
have huge meanings, all the numbers.
Walking together, hand in
Yeah.
hand, and experiencing life in a whole new different way. So we start off like ego in this thing of fear all the time, and then we have spiritual awakening. We're like, oh, I'm spiritual. And then the big bam is when it comes together, and we walk hand in hand, ebb and flow
Right.
with human and spirit, instead of going, I have to be spiritual all the time. It's like,
No, we gotta have fun along. Well, that's as funny because I think like we're not going to be like. I think even what's his? Oh my gosh, what's the guy from Nepal? Oh my gosh, I'm having a mental moment. Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know either. Sorry.
You know who I'm talking about. Everybody follows him. The Tibetan, the Dalai Lama.
Oh,
Yeah, do you think
them.
he's like them? Like he just kind of I feel like people have to have a full balanced life. You have to have fun. You have to have serious talks. You have to have, it's about taking care emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And it's all that to make yourself feel the best. Because if you're all doing spirit, guess what? You're disconnected from the rest and yourself in some ways, don't you think?
Yeah, it's like a tree. If you are just having an earthly experience, there's just roots and you're going to have a little twig
Yeah.
above the ground, no fruit. If you're all branches and no root, a wind comes, it falls over. But
So you need all of that
you
to
need
hold.
both to have this fruitful experience. You
Yeah.
have the roots that are going
And
down.
the seasons along with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Very good.
Sure.
So what is your future you're going to be doing? I wanted to ask you one more question. I'm going to interrupt myself.
Sure.
The Hedge of Peace and Love, what is that about?
So the Hedge of Peace and Love, it's like creating a Zen garden in the middle of the Fear Amusement Park. We have times in our life where we feel overwhelmed, and we're like, we're in so much fear, we can't think, we can't come out of it. And so a hedge of love basically is I energetically create this pocket of love around someone with permission of their higher selves.
Right.
Because sometimes you need to be going through your rough time, the storm on purpose, and they're like, no, the storm needs to continue. And it's like, all right, But I've never
Don't
had
get involved. There's
I've never had
Step
spirit
back.
go, no, no, no. Usually
me.
when someone's asking for help, it's their higher self is going, yeah, it's they can have a break. And so it just creates this pocket where it pushes out and creates love and light bubble around them. And anything that's not willing to convert to light has to step out of that hedge. Oops. So we create that around them, and it creates this silence, and it creates this opportunity
bubble.
for them to reflect. And I bring light in, and then we do different things throughout
So
the
it's kind of a
process.
therapy session you do.
In a way, yeah. It's
more
more
healing?
creating the space for them to have quietness. But I warn them because I'm like, are you prepared to have people who are not willing to convert to light, that they are out of your life temporarily or permanently? Because I've had it happen several times where,
Well, I think it's important
Yeah.
because those people who are not blending in your energy anymore,
Yeah.
sometimes you keep them around for because of guilt or because of whatever reason.
yeah,
Familial.
fear. It's
Fear.
fear of, I'm not going to find love again, or
Yeah.
what will people think, or blah, 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 all those wonderful fears. But it,
Well, the F word, the other F word, I call it.
yeah, so it creates this wonderful hedge, and it lasts for a period of time, and then we bring it back.
So it's more of a healing session.
I'd say so. There's healing
Yeah.
that happens in it, but it's more of a give me a break. I need a break. It's like a Kit Kat bar of spirit, you know. It's like I just want this little pocket
Yeah.
of
I love that.
doing that.
I
And,
think like a retreat. So today we're going to be tying it up, I guess, here. And so today, what would you say to the people out there to live their best life? What would you suggest? Or what would you like to
Yeah.
leave them with?
I
Food
would
for
say,
thought.
yeah, if I could say one thing, and it's kind of like we talked about earlier about love energy, is that we are so powerful, right? Every moment is a choice between unconditional love or a fear of losing conditional love. Every moment is of love. It's just what spectrum we're on it.
Right.
And that we are the ones that have this free will, the power of choice to choose what story we put to each moment, what emotion we feel as we go through it, and where we're investing our energy.
Right.
And if we are choosing what we've been taught, focus on our fears, right?
Right.
Focus on what I fear will leave my life. Well, we repel it out of our life with our energy. We're co-creators. If I fear something's going to come in, I'm bringing it into my life.
Right.
If I'm focusing in on what I feel is missing in my life, I'm telling the universe,
Bring it to
I enjoy missing things in my life. Can you have me miss more? And or I hate these things in my life. We're telling the universe, I really enjoy hating things. Can you bring me more things to hate?
Yeah.
So when we are taught, though, to focus on our fears, we're growing it. And
Absolutely.
We feel like life is happening to us. But when we step into our power, we realize I can instead focus on gratitude. Because then I'm telling the universe, I really love being grateful for things. Can I have more things to be grateful
Thank
for?
you.
And that grows and that expands.
Gratitude attitude.
And we have this habit of, doing all this, right? So it's about changing our habit from focusing on fear to focusing on unconditional love and gratitude and laughter and joy
Right.
and peace, because then that
Choose.
expands. One of the things that I do, I'm like, something that everyone carries with us is our phones.
Right.
And I'm like, whenever you want to change a habit, what do? It's repetition. It's like I put a silent vibrating alarm on my phone so I don't irritate everyone else, but it brings me back. Every waking hour or half hour, come back to gratitude. So it goes off. I'm like, oh, that's right, because I get sucked back out. And then just,
Right, the
here's the
human
reminder.
experience, yeah.
I give it, it's
So
repetition.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
You got to have an alarm to remind you to stop.
Yeah.
Think.
It's just a reminder. And reminders everywhere, Sticky notes on the door, on your desk, anywhere you can have reminders to come back to inward and upward. To
Inward and upward. You need a
unconditional
shirt
love.
like that. You should
Yeah.
have a whole line of
I actually
shirts.
have this one too.
I
which
love
is
that.
the,
I was looking at that.
It's an I am love meditations. So that's something else that you can start out your day. Just
I am love.
it can be a quick 4-second one of I am unconditionally loved. I am unconditional love. I unconditionally love the world. The world is unconditional love. You can expand it and do it more too. I know we're probably short on time.
No, we're
but-
okay.
Okay.
We're okay.
Because I have videos of those too, where you go into each one and
Oh.
you realize
You got to go to his website.
I am unconditionally loved, and just sitting in that, not one condition. It just takes one condition, and you even verbalize in each one, I am unconditionally loved. I am unconditionally loved, not when or was, but I am.
I am.
Unconditionally. Again, no conditions, not even one. It just takes one condition.
Yeah.
Which can, when it gets into spirituality and religions and stuff, they're like, oh no, there's conditions for God's love. And I'm like, you're cute, but you enjoy that while you have it. But just know that it's available there, because that's where the freedom comes in, is that there's nothing I can do to lose it, nothing I have to do to gain it, But you just step through and realizing you're made of unconditional love.
Right.
Power.
It's powerful. And like I tell my people, my brother, I have a brother who struggles, and I was telling him today, I go, Chris, you have to love yourself first. And I think you're doing that. And I validated because he was stressing on some things. And I said, just always come back to loving yourself first and knowing that. And he's one of the most grateful people I know. But he gets caught up in the humanness, which is normal. So we help each other come back. And he helps me by seeing his struggle. I see my struggle. And there's reflections.
I love that, though. Yeah, because we cannot love others more than to the extent we love ourselves.
Right.
Nor receive love from others more than to the extent
love
we love
ourselves.
ourselves. So the more you expand your self-love and open it up, the more capacity you have to receive and give love to humans, too.
I love that. So tell me your website again.
Sure, it's Brudda, Brudda Zen.com.
Okay.
And then the YouTube is Brudda Zen Mystic Tarot.
And are you on Facebook also?
Yeah, thank you. Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
Ooh.
No TikTok, huh?
No, not yet.
I love TikTok.
And,
I do
and
that
no
a little
Twitter.
bit. I'm just
Twitter's
doing
too
little videos.
difficult for me.
And Instagram's like, ah.
You have to limit, and I have to cut things down to cut and paste in there, and I'm like,
I only do TikToks when I get this. I feel like I get a download. Okay, and then I do a little video. So it has that feeling I feel, and then I just do it. And I don't care what I look like that day, as you probably have seen. I don't care. It's like life is good.
It's the message.
It's the message, yeah. And I want to thank you so much. I am so glad I have met you, because
Absolutely.
you're a bright light in this world. And I just keep spreading the love, keep spreading you. And muchas gracias. I can't believe you're here today. So.
I am so pleased, and thank you so very, very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad we're connected.
Blown away too. Absolutely.
And as we all are. So
Yes.
on that note, I wanted to say on my podcast, I'm going to give a promo now for me. I have a class coming up June 3rd and 4th here in Monument area for intuitive training. Still have a few seats left. You can come and sign up. Also, I have a class in Newport Beach starting on, I think it's July 29th and 30th. It's going to be really close to John Wayne Airport, and it's going to be held at MD at Meditate, but it's MD Meditate, however they pronounce it. If you're interested, let me know. And you know my number. You can contact me via text or email for a reading. And I just appreciate all you. And another podcast down and more to come. On that note, adios. Boom.